Tonight, before you go to bed, you are probably going to do something that millions of men over 60 do every single night. Something that feels completely harmless. Something that might even feel like it's helping you. And it is quietly making your prostate worse, fragmenting your sleep, and setting off a chain reaction inside your body that most men don't discover until the damage is already years deep. I know that sounds hard to believe. But by the time we get to habit number 1 on this list, I think you're going to look at your own bedtime routine very differently. I've spent 18 years working with men over 60 on exactly these issues: the sleep, the prostate, the exhaustion, the slow erosion of quality of life that nobody warned them was coming. And what I have learned, over and over again, is that the most dangerous habits are never the obvious ones. They are the ones that feel safe. The ones that feel normal. The ones you've been doing so long you stopped questioning them entirely. Tonight I'm going to walk you through the 4 worst bedtime habits for your prostate and your sleep, ranked from damaging to devastating. And number 1 is something I guarantee the vast majority of men watching this video have either done recently or are doing right now. Stay with me until the end, because this one genuinely matters. My name is Dr. Jane. I specialize in men's urological health and prostate wellness for patients over 60. And what I'm about to share with you is the conversation I wish every man over 60 could have with his doctor before the symptoms become impossible to ignore. Before we get into the habits, I need you to understand one thing about your prostate and your sleep, because they are far more connected than most people realize. Your prostate does not operate in isolation. It is part of a hormonal ecosystem that is deeply sensitive to what happens during the hours you sleep. The quality of your sleep, the hormones your body produces in the dark, the inflammation levels circulating through your system while you rest, all of it directly affects how that gland behaves. When you sleep well, your body produces testosterone, regulates inflammation, clears metabolic waste from your tissues, and keeps your prostate in a stable, manageable state. When you sleep poorly, or when certain habits interfere with the chemistry of your sleep, testosterone drops, inflammation rises. A hormone called dihydrotestosterone begins to accumulate, and your prostate responds to that accumulation the same way it always does. It grows. Slowly. Silently. And the worse your sleep gets, the faster the process moves. This is why the habits I'm about to describe are not just sleep problems. They are prostate problems. And understanding that connection is the key to understanding why fixing your bedtime routine can change not just how you feel in the morning, but how your prostate behaves over the next decade. Habit number 4. The one in your hand right now. If you are watching this video in bed, or if you have a habit of scrolling your phone, watching television, or using any kind of screen in the hour or 2 before you try to sleep, I need you to understand exactly what that light is doing inside your body. Your brain has a master clock, a biological timing system that has been calibrated over millions of years to respond to one specific signal, the natural fading of light at the end of the day. When that signal arrives, when light begins to disappear, your brain starts producing melatonin. And melatonin is not just a sleep hormone. It is a powerful anti-inflammatory agent, a regulator of testosterone production, a direct suppressor of the hormonal activity that drives prostate cell growth. Blue light from screens mimics midday sunlight. When you expose your eyes to a phone or a television at 10 p.m., your brain receives one clear message: it is noon. Stop producing melatonin. Keep the system alert. And so your melatonin production either delays significantly or shuts down almost entirely for that night. The downstream effects are not minor. Lower melatonin means lighter, more fragmented sleep. Lighter sleep means reduced testosterone production, because the majority of your daily testosterone is manufactured during the deep phases of sleep your phone just cancelled. Lower testosterone means a relative rise in estrogen and dihydrotestosterone, the hormones most directly linked to prostate enlargement. And studies have shown that men with consistently disrupted melatonin cycles have measurably higher rates of prostate inflammation and BPH progression than men who protect their sleep environment from artificial light. I had a patient I'll call Gary. 67 years old, semi-retired financial advisor. Gary came to me frustrated that his prostate symptoms were worsening despite following every piece of advice he'd been given. He was eating well, exercising, taking his medication. But the nighttime urgency was getting worse, not better. When I asked him to describe his evenings in detail, he told me he watched television in bed every night until he fell asleep. The TV stayed on. He fell asleep to it. Had done so for years. We made one change. Television off 90 minutes before sleep. Phone in another room. A simple lamp with a warm bulb if he needed to read. Within a month, Gary reported sleeping deeper than he had in years. His nighttime urgency dropped from 3 trips to 1. His energy during the day shifted noticeably. One habit. One change. Real results. The rule is simple: no screens of any kind, phone, television, tablet, within 90 minutes of your intended sleep time. Dim the lights in the room you spend your evening in. Let your brain receive the signal it has been waiting for. The melatonin will follow. And your prostate will benefit from every hour of deep sleep that follows. Habit number 3. The one hiding in your glass. We have spoken before on this channel about alcohol and nighttime urination. But tonight I want to go deeper, because the damage alcohol does to your prostate goes far beyond making you wake up to use the bathroom. Here is what most men don't know. Alcohol is converted by your liver into a compound called acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is toxic to prostate tissue. It directly promotes inflammation inside the gland. An inflamed prostate tissue is prostate tissue that is being primed to grow. But that's only the first mechanism. The second one is hormonal. Alcohol significantly increases the conversion of testosterone into estradiol, a form of estrogen. This conversion happens primarily in fat tissue, and it accelerates with age. The result is a hormonal environment that is, quite literally, telling your prostate cells to multiply. And there is a third mechanism that almost nobody discusses. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep, the deepest, most restorative phase. You may fall asleep faster with a drink. You will spend measurably less time in the sleep stages where your body repairs tissue, regulates hormones, and keeps your prostate chemistry in balance. The men most affected by this are not heavy drinkers. They are the men having 2 or 3 drinks most evenings. The men who would never describe themselves as having a problem. Because 2 drinks every night for 10 years is not a minor habit. It is a sustained hormonal disruption that has been quietly reshaping your prostate for a decade. I am not telling you to never drink. I am telling you that drinking within 3 hours of sleep, regularly, nightly, as a wind-down ritual, is one of the most consistent patterns I see in men whose prostate symptoms are worsening faster than they should be. If you want to protect your prostate and your sleep, move any alcohol consumption to the earlier part of your evening and give your liver time to process it fully before your head hits the pillow. Before we get to the final 2 habits, and number 1 is the one I most need you to hear, I want to take a moment to ask you something. Everything I cover on this channel is designed to give you the information your doctor doesn't have time to explain in a 15-minute visit. If this is helping you, hit the like button right now. It takes a second and it puts this in front of the men who need it tonight. And leave me a comment. Which of these habits did you not know about before today? I read every single one. And one more thing. The habits we are covering tonight are powerful. But for men over 60, lifestyle changes alone often leave significant gaps in what the prostate actually needs. I've left a link in the description below to a natural formula I recommend to patients looking for that extra layer of support. Over 20 clinically researched ingredients, each one selected for its role in prostate health and healthy urinary function. No prescription required. And every order is covered by a full 180-day money-back guarantee, 6 months to see the difference, or every cent back, no questions asked. Take a look when you're done watching. Habit number 2. The one happening at your dinner table. If you are eating a large meal within 2 hours of going to bed, especially a meal that is high in refined carbohydrates, sugar, or processed food, you are triggering a hormonal sequence that is directly toxic to your prostate and your sleep quality. Here is the mechanism. A large, high-carbohydrate meal causes a rapid spike in blood sugar. Your pancreas responds by releasing a surge of insulin to bring that sugar under control. But insulin does not just manage blood sugar. Insulin also stimulates the production of a growth factor called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. IGF-1 is one of the most potent drivers of prostate cell proliferation that we know of. Elevated IGF-1 does not just make your prostate cells grow faster. It also signals them to resist the natural process of programmed cell death that keeps the gland in check. A late dinner of white rice, bread, pasta, or anything sweet is not just a digestive inconvenience. It is a hormonal instruction sent directly to your prostate: grow. And on top of the prostate damage, that insulin spike triggers a corresponding blood sugar crash 2 to 3 hours later, right in the middle of your sleep cycle, that activates your stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol wakes you up, keeps you in shallow sleep, prevents you from reaching the deep stages where testosterone is produced and prostate inflammation is suppressed. Your last meal of the day should be your lightest meal of the day. Finish eating at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. And if you need something in the evening, choose protein and healthy fat, not carbohydrates. Your prostate and your sleep will respond accordingly. And now we arrive at number 1. The worst bedtime habit on this list. The one I have been building toward. I want you to think about the last time you had a night of genuinely poor sleep. Maybe your mind was racing. Maybe you were restless and couldn't settle. Maybe the bathroom trips were worse than usual and you just could not get back to a deep sleep. What did you reach for? For tens of millions of men over 60, the answer is something sitting in the medicine cabinet right now. Something sold without a prescription in every pharmacy and grocery store in the country. Something marketed specifically for sleep, often with words like gentle, natural, or non-habit forming on the label. I am talking about over-the-counter sleep aids. Products containing diphenhydramine, the active ingredient in Benadryl, ZZZ-Quil, Simply Sleep, Unisom, and dozens of other nighttime medications. And I need you to hear what I am about to say very carefully. Diphenhydramine belongs to a class of drugs called anticholinergics. What that means, in practical terms, is that it blocks the neurotransmitter acetylcholine throughout your body. And one of acetylcholine's critical jobs is controlling the muscles that allow your bladder to contract and empty fully. When you take a diphenhydramine-based sleep aid, you are chemically impairing your bladder's ability to empty. For a younger man with a healthy prostate, this is mildly inconvenient. For a man over 60 with any degree of BPH, with an already narrowed urethra and a bladder that is already struggling to clear completely, this can cause acute urinary retention. The inability to urinate at all. A medical emergency that sends men to the emergency room more often than most people realize. But the prostate and bladder risk is only half the story. In 2015, a landmark study published in JAMA Internal Medicine followed nearly 3,500 adults over age 65 for 10 years. The findings were unambiguous. Regular use of anticholinergic medications, including over-the-counter sleep aids containing diphenhydramine, was associated with a significantly increased risk of developing dementia. The more frequent the use, the stronger the association. These are not obscure medications. They are on the shelf in every pharmacy. They are taken by millions of men who believe they are doing something harmless to help themselves sleep. They are not harmless. Not for men over 60. Not for your bladder. Not for your prostate. And increasingly, not for your brain. I had a patient I'll call Ed, 72 years old, retired teacher. Ed had been taking an over-the-counter sleep aid almost every night for 4 years. He came to me with a combination of worsening urinary symptoms and a level of cognitive fogginess that was beginning to worry him and his family. When I reviewed his medications and explained exactly what diphenhydramine does inside the body of a man his age, his face went completely still. He said, "I bought this because the box said it was safe. Because it didn't need a prescription. Because I thought it was the responsible choice." We stopped the sleep aid immediately. Began addressing his sleep through the habits and the protocol I have described tonight. Within 6 weeks his urinary symptoms had measurably improved. Within 3 months his family told him he seemed sharper, more present, more like himself. The box said safe. The research says otherwise. If you have a sleep aid in your medicine cabinet right now that contains diphenhydramine, please have a conversation with your doctor before you take it again. There are safer alternatives. There are non-pharmacological approaches that work. And your prostate and your brain will thank you for making the switch. Here is your action plan. 4 changes starting tonight. Remove screens from your bedroom and give yourself 90 minutes of low light, screen-free time before sleep. This single change will begin restoring the melatonin production your prostate depends on. Move alcohol consumption to the earlier part of your evening and give your body a minimum of 3 hours to process it before you sleep. Your prostate is recording everything. Make your evening meal your lightest meal. Finish eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. Protein and healthy fat in the evening. Keep the carbohydrates for earlier in the day. Check your medicine cabinet tonight. If you have any over-the-counter sleep aid containing diphenhydramine, do not take it again before speaking with your doctor. You have spent decades building a life worth living. The sleep you get in the years ahead is not a luxury. It is the infrastructure that holds everything else together: your energy, your sharpness, your hormonal health, and the long-term behavior of your prostate. The habits I described tonight did not become dangerous overnight. They built up quietly, year after year, in the background of an otherwise reasonable life. And that means the changes don't need to be dramatic either. Small, consistent shifts in your bedtime routine can produce results that will surprise you. Before you go, I want to be honest with you the way I am with every patient who sits across from me. For men over 60, lifestyle changes are the foundation, but they are rarely the complete answer. The prostate needs specific nutritional support that most men simply are not getting through diet alone. I've left a link in the description below to a natural formula built specifically for this. Over 20 clinically researched ingredients, each one selected for its role in prostate health and healthy urinary function. No prescription required. Every order is protected by a full 180-day money-back guarantee. If you have been waking up 2, 3, 4 times a night and you are ready to actually do something about it, that link is where you start. It takes 60 seconds. And the only thing you have to lose is another night of broken sleep. Share this video with one man who needs it. Subscribe with the bell on. And I'll see you in the next one.